Okay, folks, here we are. I'm going to show you today how to take an Adobe Animate movie file and export it to create an MP4 using Adobe MediaEncoder. Okay, so I've picked a really old file that I worked on years and years and years ago, and I'm just going to export this walk cycle. So I'll just play the walk cycle for you here, and as you can see, it's just a character walking across the screen. And I'll export that as a video file. Okay, so basically when you're ready to export your movie as an MP4, you go to the File menu up here at the top, File, Export, Export Video Media. Select that, and it brings out the Export Media dialog box. Now the render size is 550 by 400. That shows you how old the file is. But yours is going to be 1920 by 1280 HD. Ignore stage color, generate an alpha channel. Leave that unchecked unless you need it. So if you want to just export some animation, but you want the background to be invisible so that you can composite it later on in either Adobe After Effects or Adobe Premiere, then you might want to check that. Span all scenes. Now, because I only have one scene, you can leave that as it is. H.264 is my format, okay? That's what I'm going for. The preset is the default AME, which is Adobe Media Encoder. Leave that as well. And the output is where do you want the video file put once it's finished rendering. And I've just had mine set to go to the desktop. Okay, and automatically, last but not least, automatically they have the checked box of Start Adobe Media Encoder Render Queue Immediately. I always uncheck that because I want to go in and tweak the settings on Adobe Media Encoder a little bit. Okay, so uncheck that. Then hit Export. Okay, it'll take a little time to open Adobe Media Encoder. Especially if you're opening it for the first time, because it's got to go through all those libraries and do all kinds of stuff. After you've used it one or two times, it opens much, much quicker. So just give it a few moments to open. Okay, and this is Adobe Media Encoder, and this is a great piece of software to learn. Because it does a whole heap of really wonderful things. I don't have really time to go too in depth into what it's capable of doing, but it's really great because what it'll do is it'll take a raw, it'll take any kind of file, music file, video file, image file, and convert it into any other kind of file. And that's really, really cool. All right, so the most important window for us right now is what just happened over here in the queue. So as you can see, it made a temporary MOV file, okay? And this file is just the temporary one that it generated. It's really big, and typically when you export it, these are raw, uncompressed video files, a .mov. And the bit rate is set to match source, high bit rate, okay? But it's automatically set to go to create an H.264 and match the source, the high bit rate. This is what I like to come in and tweak a little bit. I like to customize this just a little bit. So I'll click that blue link, and it opens up my Export Settings dialog box. And really, the most important thing is I don't have audio, so I'll uncheck that if I don't have audio. I'll leave it in. I'll leave it checked if I do have audio. So that'll save some space. And the only other thing I like to come in is change my bitrate settings under the video section right here. Okay, so I'll make sure that the video section is selected, and I'll scroll down. Scroll, 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 scroll until I get my bitrate settings. Okay, and it's set to do a VBR2 pass. Okay, that's fine. But look right down here. Our estimated file size is 8 megabytes. Now this is only just a second or two clip. I mean, we're talking, gosh, I don't even know how long it is. it's very, very short. So 8 megabytes for that very, very short clip is too much. So our target bitrate I typically tend to take down. I'll set that down to 8, and I'll change my maximum bitrate to 10. And you'll see that that dropped 2 megabytes off of my final file. And you might say to yourself, oh, well, so what? 2 megabytes, no big deal. However, if you've got 100 of these files, okay, you can see how the megabytes add up to gigabytes of information when you're saving files. So essentially, that's all I usually do is I change my target bitrate to 8 and my maximum bitrate to 10. I can go lower, but I don't need to. 6 megabytes is a decent file size. All right, remember H.264, uncheck the export audio, VBR2 passes fine, leave it there, and then change your target bitrate to 8 and your maximum bitrate to 10, hit OK. And now with your custom settings, all you do is hit that little green arrow at the top right-hand corner, start queue. And because this is such a small file, you'll see it zip along as it renders really quick. So keep an eye down here. You'll see the encoding happen really quick. 1, 2, 3, go. There it is. Super fast. It's done. Okay. Okay, nice. And let me minimize Adobe Animate. Let me minimize Adobe MediaEncoder. And you will see, here it is, walkcycle.mp4. I now have a video file, and that is what you need to send to me for your final animation. Basically, you're going to create your MP4, and that is what you're going to submit on Canvas. All right, thanks very much. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.